Alright, what's up everybody? Back with another edition of Everyday Hoops. Hope you guys are having a good one. Today is another episode of the Look-In series. Today we're talking about the New Orleans Pelicans. If you haven't watched any of the first few episodes of the Look-In series, go watch them. I have a playlist on my channel. So you watch one, you go over to the playlist and you can just watch all of them. Thank you guys for the views on the vids and the short searches. They really appreciate it. If you like the content, consider subscribing, like, turn notifications on, stuff like that. Really appreciate it. Really helps out a lot. Yeah, very excited to get into this one. So let's not waste any more time. Get right into it. So the Pelicans this season, they finished 42-40. Big roller coaster type of season. They started off solid. Then around December, they started to peak really high. They were a top seed in the West. They're number 2 at one point. I think they're number 1 actually at one point. They beat the Nuggets. They're number 1 at one point. Things start to look amazing, but then injuries start to pile up. Zion, Bi, they all get hurt, and they drop slowly, and then they take a huge drop. They went from 4 to 11. They went on a huge losing streak. Dropped to 11. They were just around the 10, 11, 12 range for the rest of the year, trying to fight their way in to the play-in after a great start to the year. But in the last few weeks, Brandon Ingram comes back. Brandon Ingram looks really good. They fight all the way up back into the play-in, the 9th seed. They finish over 500, and they lose the first playing game to the Oklahoma City Thunder. And now 10th in the West is what they finish as. A lot of expectations kind of a little bit on this season. People expect them to take big jumps because last year they fought their way into the play-in, where the 9th seed won 2 games, made the playoffs, took on the 64-win Suns. It took them to 6, gave them their all. And then with Zion coming back and everything going on, people expected New Orleans to take a huge jump, be a top seed in the West. And people were right. To be honest, people were right. They did take a big jump. It's just they couldn't sustain it because all the injuries that happened with them, they kind of just dropped. Yeah, and I feel like the Pelicans have just one problem. The one thing that's holding them back. And it's the injury bug. Which they can't really, which is sucks. It's a problem you can't really have full control over and can't really fully fix. You know, like you can't come in and be like, all right, we just can't let him get injured anymore. We can't injure him anymore. Like injuries just kind of happen. Sometimes you can't really control all of that. Of course, your conditioning and how you handle the injury can be fixed and stuff. But ultimately, getting hurt is just something that happens, especially in basketball in any sport. Getting hurt, it just happens sometimes, So, gotta just take it and deal with it. But for the Pelicans, it's been just the worst thing in the world. Because the Pelicans really can. If Zion and Bi, both of them don't get hurt at that time, we were talking about the Pelicans as like the number 3, 4 seed in the West, and that they maybe can make a conference finals run. But that's how good they were looking early in the year. Everyone was on point. We're starting off with Zion, of course, obviously. He was made an all-star starter. Even though he played in just 29 games, he averaged 26, 7, and 4 with the steal. He shot 60% from the field. Yeah, when he was playing, he looked like a top 20 player, top 15 player in the NBA. I mean, he was having a phenomenal season. Big comeback year after missing the entire season last year. He came back. Pelicans gave him some money in the offseason, and he looked like he was worth it. He played in those 29 games. He looked insane. But then early January, he has a hamstring injury, and he's not seen again for the rest of the season and the play-in. And it really, really, really sucks because, of course, the discourse on Zion is all about the injuries, obviously, because he's missed so much time already in his first few years in the NBA. And it's so crazy because when he does play, everyone shuts up. When he plays, everyone's like, oh, okay, this is why this dude is like, why we talk about this dude like a dude, like one of those dudes. Because when he does play, he looks like one of those guys that's like, oh man, like this dude is insane. But it's just if he's gonna play is the only question. And so people just kind of bashing Zion and all this stuff. And I don't want to do that. I'm not here to do that. I'm not here to bash him or disrespect him in like in that way or say trade him or all this stuff. But it's just I don't know what. Like, there's obviously something there. Obviously, something's there with the injury problems and all the stuff like that. And I don't know what the Pelicans can do about it. really about his injury problems. It's the only thing. He has to just be healthy and take better care of his body. I guess conditioning would be my number one thing for Zion in the offseason, so he can come back and play a good amount of a season. I don't know. I think it's crazy how he's only 22. I'm saying this, but we're already at a point where Zion's probably never going to play a full 80, 82, even like a 78, 77 game season. It's looking like. But honestly, the way the things go in the NBA, we don't really need that from him. If he could just play 65 games, that's all you need to qualify for things, Zion. If he could just play 65, 66, I think so far that's a successful season for him. That's a lot. That's game. That's good. That's a good season for him because we already seen his first few years all of his injury problems, and he's prone to foot injuries, especially with his body, his shape, and all that. If he could just play a good amount of games, like a 65-ish game season, that'd be a great start. That'd be great. I won't be surprised if he come in next year if he's healthy, obviously, which I think he will be. Come in and he's not playing back to backs. He's not playing a whole ton of stuff. But honestly, as long as he's on the court for some time, as long as he's on the court for like 60, 65 games or not 20 games, I think I'll take it. I think the Pelicans will take it because 65 is a huge difference from 29. That's 36 more games that Zion could be available in, and that changes everything for New Orleans. Because you see, when he's healthy and they're at their peak, when he's healthy, they're at their peak. When he's healthy, they're a different team. They're a young, up-and-coming team that could be a top team in the West that could cause problems. It's just when he's on the court. That's the thing. But I still have a lot of faith in Zion. I'm still a full believer. I'm not selling any stock in Zion. I still fully believe that Zion's going to come out and Zion's going to be one of the guys for the next few years in the NBA. Yeah, next year's a big year, though. Especially after this year. What happened? Next year's a big year for Zion. If he does come out and plays a lot of games and shows and does kind of the same things he's been doing all year, his whole career, then that'll be big. That'd be huge for Zion. But it's just getting him on the court, man. We need to see him on the court. That's a lot on Zion, but now we go to B.I. B.I. also missed a lot of games. He only played in 45 games. But when he did play, he looked really good as well. He averaged 24, 5, and 6. Shot 48% from the field, 39% from 3, 88% from the free throw line. Especially those last like 2.5, 3 weeks of the season when he did come back and the Pelicans were fighting for a playing spot. He looked like a superstar, which is great. He has some triple doubles in there, has some big games, getting buckets. I mean, B.I. is just really good. I love B.I. Guys are super talented, and he's a nice block piece to have. If Zion is going to miss some games, you're lucky that you have a guy like Brandon Ingram that could come in and take over games. And we saw the last few weeks that he can do everything, basically, on the court. Great for New Orleans to have. If he would have played 65-ish games, this team looks a lot different as well. That's another 20 games added on of Brandon Ingram being great. Like, that's huge. Again, this game, just them playing extra games are just so huge for this Pelican team because, I mean, you saw at their peak, they were a top team. And the next thing I want to talk about is Trey Murphy III, because he had a phenomenal season. He played in 79 games, so you don't have to talk about his injury problems. But he had a really good year. He averaged 14.5 points, 3 rebounds, an assist, and a steal. Shot 48% from the field, 40% from 3, and 90% from the free throw line. He really took a big jump last year. Kind of took him a while to get into it and get into the rotation and get consistent minutes and stuff. But once he did near the end of the season and in the playoffs, you saw the potential of why he was a mid-first round pick and why so many teams wanted him. And then this year he came in, and whether he was coming off the bench or he was starting, he was putting up big numbers, big shooting games. He had I think like 5 or 6 30-point games. He's a sniper from 3. He's a sniper. But don't get it twisted. He can get to the rim and dunk too. He can dunk on you as well. He looks more confident putting the ball on the floor. Defensively, he's gonna bring it to you as well. Like, he's already a top tier role player, and he's only 22 years old. Like, he has still so much potential left in him. Honestly, even if this is him his entire career, it's still a very solid career, and he's still gonna get paid. Imagine if he takes another jump or two. Like, oh man, I can't wait to see what he's gonna look like next year and the year after that. Because, man, he has so much potential. Trey Murphy, if the Pelicans keep him around, that's just That's just another huge piece of the young core. So other guys as well, they're vets. CJ had a very decent season. I mean, the numbers wise, he still averaged 21, 4 and 5, shot 43% from the field, 39% from three. Did have a lot of moments where he was just not very efficient. I mean, he only shot 43%, and his three ball wasn't really hitting as well. And especially in that playing game, he missed a lot of shots. I think he shot like 5 for 15 or 5 for 16. They did reveal he was playing with some injuries as well near the end of the season. Yeah, I think he's got to be a little bit more consistent next season. Because he is, I mean, a huge piece for the Pelicans. He's kind of like their point guard now. So he's got to, and he's a vet. He's been here before. He's got to be able to, hit shots when they need him to. Kind of be the Mike Conley role, I feel like. But obviously, he's better at Mike Conley at this point. He's better than Mike Conley at this point, but just that type of role, that veteran guy that kind of helps off the court, but then on the court, he's going to hit shots. When he needs to take over, he could take over. Valanciunas had a solid year as well. He averaged 14 and 10. He shot 54% from the field, 35% from three. It's kind of the same with him. He had a lot of moments where he looked good, but a lot of moments where he was just kind of out there and not really doing a whole lot. His minutes, he only averaged 25 minutes per game because sometimes they went with Larry Nance Jr. and William Gomez in there, or Jackson Hayes in there. So JV got to be a little better. I don't know. Maybe he leaves soon. Maybe he's traded soon. I have no idea. Jose Alvarado had a great year as well. He averaged 9, 2, and 3 with a steal. He shot 41% from the field, 33% from three. Has some big moments this year. Had a 30-something point game against Denver. Won Rising Stars MVP. But he only played 61 games. He missed most of the second half of the season. I don't know why. I don't remember why. But that's a big piece as well. He brings a lot of energy off that bench. Solid defender. Hits some shots. Not afraid of anything. Yeah, he's just a big, fun, energy guy for the New Orleans Pelicans. And they really need him around. Some other guys. Herb Jones had a solid season. Especially at the end of the season, the last week or two, he was actually scoring and hitting shots. And if Herb Jones can consistently hit threes, man, he's gonna be so valuable to this team. He's already really valuable as their best defender. Imagine him with a consistent 3-point shot, man. And then Najee Marshall took some steps this year as well. Najee Marshall kind of came out of nowhere, became actually like a core rotational player for their team. He averaged 9, 3, and 2. Handle the ball, get to the rim. Defensively, he's going to give a lot of effort as well. Very solid role player. And then I really love the pickup of Josh Richardson at the trade deadline. Just a veteran guy that's been around, can hit shots, play defense. Anyone needs a guy like that. And then Larry Nance Jr. as well. Had a very solid season when he was out there. He played 65 games, did get hurt near the end of the year. Dyson Daniels, I think, is going to be very solid as well. His first year in the NBA, he only averaged 4 points, 3 rebounds, shot 41% from the field, 31% from three. But you saw it. I mean, he's got definitely a lot of potential in there as a big point guard that can handle the ball, make plays for others, but also attack, get to the rim, get his own. Defensively, he's going to be pretty good as well. Gives the extra effort. I think he might be a regular on the rotation next season. Yeah, the Pelicans have just so much talent on this team, man. They really do. I mean, they have the star talent in Zion and Bi. They have the really good role players that are still young in Trey Murphy, Herb Jones, Jose Alvarado. They got hidden potential and guys like Dyson Daniels and Kerry Lewis, who came back this season after tearing his ACL last year. They have, and even Najee Marshall's still only 25, which I didn't even know that. But yeah, they have so much young potential, young talent on this team. They really can develop this team into something special. This team can really be something special. And they're gonna have presumably another pick this season. So we'll see what happens with what they pick there with that pick. If I'm New Orleans, who am I gonna pick? I'm probably gonna pick a shooter. I think 3-point shooting because they have a lot of capable 3-point shooters. They just don't take a lot of threes. They don't have any really shooters besides Trey Murphy. So maybe a guy like Jet Howard or Jordan Hawkins would be solid for them. Maybe they take a chance on maybe a guy like I don't know. That might be a little bit too early. I was thinking maybe a Chris Murray, but I think that might be a little bit too early. for him. The good thing is, yeah, they don't need talent. I mean, they don't need to draft a future superstar in this draft with that pick. They just need a complimentary role player that will step in and do it and get the job done. Honestly, I wouldn't even mind them taking maybe like a project type of guy, maybe a guy like a Ryan Rupert from the New Zealand Breakers. Maybe a guy like that is it's gonna take a little bit of time to develop, but you're good with taking time to develop because you already have so much young talent in there. Or maybe nah, I was thinking about maybe a trade, but I don't know what you're gonna get for the 14th pick. You might get a solid role player or two back, which I don't know. Maybe you want to just draft instead of getting a player like that. But yeah, the Pelicans are good, really. Like Pelicans are in a very good spot. Their only problem is just the injury bug, man. They just have to stay healthy. Everybody on their team. I feel like almost everyone on their team missed some time this season, which really hurt this team because when you have Zion and Bi out and another dude out, it's like, dang, like I know we have some good role players, but geez, man, like we need someone out there to help us. So yeah, I'm very excited for the Pelicans' future. I'm not worried about it at all. Not worried about Zion at all. They just need to play games. Honestly, they just need those doctors to be. They need to get some top tier doctors over there in New Orleans. That's all I gotta say about it. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Once again, if you do other content, consider subscribing, like, turn notifications, all stuff like that. Really appreciate it. Really helps out a lot. Go watch all the other looking videos. And yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow.